Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, my friends, and the honorable our lecturer, Prof. Joko. Okay, I am Indah Nurhidayah. Today I will be presenting the role of the first language in SLA. In the past, many researchers believed that the second language acquisition classroom should possess in a first language policy. They believe that success with second language acquisition is strongly determined by maximum exposure to acquired language. Thus, first language should be banned. But further research is the finding in further research are the first language is also mother tongue. SLA can be learned easily with the help of first language, but if it is learned in scientific way, it is said to be best learning. Acquisition is the best way to acquire. Next, the positive transfer. First language has a great impact on second language acquisition. And Noam Chomsky's universal grammar theory, example of English and Chinese, 5 similar ways to form words. They are compound, conversion, affixation, sound changing, and abbreviation. There are many benefits of first language. The concept of universal grammar theory can be seen of the example of English and Chinese. In both of these languages, if the English learners will learning Chinese, they will be able to understand the similar ways to form words, and so contrary from Chinese to English. And when given the opportunity to use first language such as code switching and translanguaging in meaningful ways, bilingual learners increase their comprehension and understanding of the text. When to use first language? First is during task-based language teaching. The second is practicing complex academic terms, expressions, and phrases. The next is lower level proficiency in second language. And the next is defining new vocabulary terms and grammar teaching. Why is this important? Why is first language important? First language is the fundamental for any second language that is learned. The first language is going to be the basic for the students to build upon what they are learning in the second language, and it may facilitate learning of grammar in the second language and creates a confident and enthusiastic student, especially for the younger students. If the teacher allows them to use first language, so the student will be brave to ask questions. It can motivate students and lower anxiety of second language usage. Second language acquisition closely related to education, cognitive psychology, and psychology. Here is some important approaches. Here is some important approaches in this field. There are systemic functional linguistics, second language acquisition researchers are forced to make inferences about this rule from learners' speech or writing. And the second is socio-cultural theory. According to Rod Ellis, the plurality has meant by sociolinguistics. Sociolinguistics research views the social context in which language is learned as essential for a proper understanding of acquisition process. And the next, skill acquisition theory. The interaction in second language acquisition is important. The communication in the communication, the learners must negotiate for meaning. Next, connectionism. Connectionism is where learning occurs by modifying connection strengths based on experience. And Noam Chomsky's universal grammar. The universal grammar focuses on describing the linguistic competence of an individual. SLA can be divided into 5 stages. The first is pre-production. Next, the second is production. The third is speech emergence. The fourth is intermediate fluency. The fifth is fluency. Pre-production. In the pre-production, learner is in the silent period. Learner also receive up to 500 words, not creatively on their own. The next stage, production. Learners speak short phrase, memorizes and makes mistakes. And learner has 1,000 words vocabulary. In the speech emergence, learner has 3,000 words vocabulary and communicate using simple phrases and simple questions, make grammatical errors, and in intermediate fluency, learners has 6,000 words vocabulary and complicated structure, thoughts, and opinions frequent. Error in complex sentences. And fluency is after learning of 5 to 10 years, learners can reach the fluency level of the first language. Okay, next is the conclusion. Language cannot be translated completely, and hence all second language learners, until they are at lower stages, make errors, and until they do not acquire efficiency, they continue making errors. Okay, thank you. That's all my presentation. I hope this material will be useful for you, and I'm sorry for my mistake. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.